We are two best friends talking about life inside and outside of the gym as women, daughters, sisters, aunties, coaches, and friends.
We will tackle topics ranging from the nervous system, divorce, body image, and dating in your 40s.
We also like to nerd out on the inner workings of the heart, mind, and body. All content, opinions, and ideas are taken from our 47 years of combined coaching experience and is not medical advice.
We don't apologize for being strong or believing we can change the world. We don't take ourselves too seriously around here, and we invite you to do the same.
Welcome to Dear Life I Am In. I am Lu Crenshaw, sitting across the table from my best friend. Ooh, ooh. Do you want to tell them your name?
Shantell Dayton.
Shantell, what's your middle name?
Marie.
Mine too.
Oh my gosh.
Raise your hand out there, ladies, if your middle name is Marie.
If you were born in the 80s.
7 out of 10 women just raised their hands who were listening.
It's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
What is there? There's like Marie, Anne, Lynn. There's another one that's pretty...
I don't know.
What's the other one? I don't know. There's a lot of very common ones.
Okay.
Like I feel like Anne and Lynn are very common as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
I know a couple of those.
Yeah. Did your mom ever tell you that she had like another name for you?
Yeah, if I was a boy.
Oh, okay. What would it have been?
Justin Charles.
Whoa.
Yeah, because she was waiting to be surprised. She wasn't sure if I was going to be a boy or a girl.
Justin Charles. That's like a very strong name.
Yeah. I think my brother was going to be Chandra Lynn. So there's that Lynn. I know, when you just think about like your sibling being the opposite sex, it's kind of awkward.
Yeah, and it's kind of
Yeah.
funny because you don't think of them as
Chandra Lynn.
no.
I'm pretty sure that what is what it is. If my mom's listening, she can correct me if I'm wrong.
I don't think my mom had another name picked out for me.
She didn't have another. There was no opposite or not Lucian Marie if I was a girl. Mm-hmm. That's what it was going to be.
Yeah, I don't think my mom. I think my mom knew before I was born if I was a boy or a girl. I think.
Yeah.
I don't think she waited to be surprised.
Going to be surprised.
Yeah, I don't think my mom wanted to be surprised. She had 2 boys before me, and she was like, "Dear Lord, please let there be a girl coming."
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that that's the only reason why they tried again was because they wanted a girl.
wanted a girl.
And oh, did they get one?
Blonde hair, blue-eyed, a wild one,
Oh my
folks.
gosh.
A wild one.
My
I was like
gosh.
the well-behaved firstborn. That makes you want to have another one.
Yeah, they definitely stopped at me.
No, they didn't. They had your brother.
That's
Later.
true. Yeah, later on. My mom definitely did have my younger brother. But yeah, the wilds.
Speaking of wild.
I know. I was actually just going to like segue into our podcast today that we have actually been dying to talk about publicly.
Yeah.
Either on our podcast or even on social media. But we have like lips have been sealed.
That lips have been sealed. It's just been.
Well, I just mean
need
like
to talk about it.
social media.
Yeah.
We haven't said anything on social media.
Yeah.
At least I haven't. I haven't on my
haven't
personal
either.
one or
Yeah.
anything. But inside the gym, we've definitely talked about it. And so, what are we planning on doing this next year, Lucian Marie?
Well, we have a wild friend, which was where I was going. Speaking of wild, our friend Sarah. She used to be Sarah Lugman, and now she's Sarah Mayo.
Which,
And
what a
folks,
cool last name.
She's wild. Yeah, it's a good one.
Yeah, it is.
She's a wild one, and she does wild and crazy things that sometimes you're all about, and other times you just think, you know what, you could go do that. Right? Like she was in town the other day, and she said, I want to hang out with you girls. You guys want to come over and do a sauna and cold plunge hangout? And obviously we're both totally in, but that's her. Let's not go get coffee. Let's go sauna and cold plunge as we're like
Experience
sitting
something
there
together.
like sitting in a dirty hot tub with freezing cold water in it and then running through a field while we're freezing. I mean, it was just awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah, definitely an adventure. I don't want to say like adventure junkie, but she values experience
For sure.
and which is so cool. I think
Yeah.
everybody needs someone in their life that will ask them to do things that they would never do
Yes.
by themselves or
Yeah.
never even really think about. Like
Yes.
that just
She thinks of things that nobody else thinks of.
yeah, which insert the Oahu Pentathalon.
Insert.
Insert the Oahu Pentathalon. And she, how many years ago? It's 3 years ago?
3 years ago.
Yeah, 3 years ago. I don't know the exact details of how it was, but I do know that
I pretty much think she just wondered. I wonder
if I can circumnavigate the island of Oahu via swim, paddle, bike, run, and ruck.
Okay, it's not a ruck. I feel like that's very misleading.
I do too, because a ruck you can wear on your body.
You wear it on your body. No, folks, it's a sandbag carry. But when you say ruck, it just sounds so much more romantic, I think, than carrying a sandbag.
Or just so much more doable, I feel. Because people are like, oh yeah, I've rucked before. I put a a sack on my back and like done. It's not, I mean, because when you eliminate the use of both of your arms while walking long distance with weight, it is like very different. Yes. I mean, at some point, I'm sure you put it on your shoulder and you still lose that. I mean, your gait changes when
you ain't got no arms.
you don't have both arms or at least or one arm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. So Sarah set out on this adventure and she completed it. She was able to go all the way around the island.
In 23 hours and 49 minutes.
Yep. So just shy of 24. And so the Oahu Pentathalon was born. And so the next season she invited others to do it. And so I don't know how many people signed up for the first year she opened it to other people.
It's happened twice. So this coming August will be the third.
And Lucianne Marie Crenshaw, we are doing it.
Yes. So shall we tell them what it is? Would you like to tell them or would you like me to tell them?
You can. I wrote it all down because I'll tell them the first part, that it is 135 miles.
Yeah, it's 135 miles. In how long?
And you have 24 hours to complete it.
Yes, you have from sunrise to sunrise.
Yep. And so what does this entail?
Yes, it is it's changed. Different people will say different things. 2.4 to 2.5 mile swim in the ocean.
With sharks.
With sharks.
With the sharks.
And then you get out of the water with the sharks and you run how far?
You run 13 miles.
Yeah.
I did have to look at the paper. I'm like, half
and
marathon.
then you're going to get back in the water in something that you can paddle. That's the only stipulation, is that you have to have a paddle.
Yep. And how far are you going?
And that is 14 miles.
And average, how long does that take?
This is the longest leg of the race, and it takes about 4.5 to 5 hours.
On the ocean.
In the ocean with the sharks.
With the sharks.
In August. So it's going to be hot.
Yeah.
Hot. That's a lot of time in the sun with no umbrella.
No. There will be some, what is the, oh my gosh. What's the sunscreen that you wear that's like all just white?
Yes, zinc.
Zinc. There we go.
Yeah, we're going to be zinced out, floppy hatted out, and literally have like sunscreen clothes on. Yeah. Because nobody's going to be putting an umbrella up because that's going to take another 3 hours and add it to it with the drag.
Good luck with.
I know.
Yeah, but it is apparently it's one of the hardest parts of the race, or the most. I want to say like it's underestimated.
Yeah.
Yeah, it seems.
Yeah.
There's a lot of hush.
Yeah.
There's a lot of hush about when people get done. It's kind of like, I feel like it's one of those things where even when people come to one of our 2-day events or 5-day events, and you just can't really put it into words, and I feel like,
and they're not going to divulge everything to you.
Yeah,
like the kayak was terrible and I cried the whole time,
which I did hear a rumor about that.
And so after the kayak, you're going to get out and you're going to ride your bike for 27 miles, and then you get off and you pick up a 40-pound sandbag.
Is it 40 or 45?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm just making sure I carry more than 40 or 45 pounds all the time whenever I'm doing anything
when you're
with a
practicing.
sandbag.
Yes, 100%.
And how far is that?
That's 11 miles. 11 miles with a sandbag.
And that, the rumor, again, has it that the sandbag carry usually starts around sunset. And then after you finish your 11 miles with your sandbag, you will then go on a 68-mile bike ride to wrap up this race. So sleep deprived and 80 some odd miles. And then you're going to hop on a bike in the dark in the middle of the night. Okay, you guys. I am most worried about getting lost. I am not as worried about the sharks as I am about getting lost. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm definitely worried about the sharks. I'm worried about the sharks. Okay, so the mental part. Okay, so I feel like there's definitely there's a couple different categories for me. And I wonder what they are for you too. Because physically, most people, when I tell people like, oh, you're doing the swim, this is what you do, you run, and then you bike, and then you kayak, and da-da-da-da, right? And so I'm telling them all the things, and then I get to the sandbag carry, and they are like...
That's where people lose their mind.
They lose their mind. They didn't lose their mind at a 2.5-mile swim in the ocean. And I'm like, do you realize how long that takes? Like, that takes like 2 hours. 2 hours in the water swimming in the ocean. And then people are like, you won't get attacked by a shark. I'm like, how many people do you know that are in the water for 2 hours? Your odds increase. Anyway, physically, I am most worried about the swim.
Yeah.
Mentally, I am most worried about the swim. But I actually
emotionally, what are you most worried about?
The kayak.
I thought you were going to say the swim.
Yeah, I know, right? I really do feel like the kayak it's going to be the thing that I might like underestimate, because I'm just not like, I don't do well in the water, not because I can't swim, but because I have to plug my nose. Like currently right now to date, it is January, 4th?
5th.
Okay, 5th.
Yeah, we're a little late to our podcast game.
Yes, we are. And right. I, a few summers ago, actually, you and I were at the lake with some friends, but you and I were the only two that were in the water. And I was just like, one of our friends, this little girl, one of our friends, her little girl was swimming next to us earlier that day. And she was just going underwater without plugging her nose, like no big deal. And she looked adorable, and she just looked so free and had so much fun. And I thought, man, I want to do that. I want to be able to do that. And so then I vulnerably told that to you.
Yeah.
And because most people are like, oh my gosh, you're 30 years old, obviously older than 30, but around, you can't swim without plugging your nose. I'm like, yeah, way to shame me. Okay. Yeah. Let's not talk about this. Yeah. This is very helpful. Anyway. And I remember you saying like, oh my gosh, yeah, I'll totally help you. And so there we were. And it was so fun to actually be able to go underwater. But it was there's such I have to think about it before I do it. And so I know that this is going to be a really big deal for me to be able to move past something that I have done essentially my entire life. And I don't swim very often. So that summer that I practiced that, then I think that was the last time that I swam for that season.
Yeah.
And then the next time I swam, I was maybe at my parents' house in their pool and, did it a couple times. And so it was like, but yet I didn't practice it by any means. So it is very,
you got 9 months to practice. Sis.
I have 9 months to practice.
9 months from 2 days ago, because
the date
just got announced, which is actually kind of crazy because we were already planning on talking about this today, and then they announced it yesterday. So
August 3rd and 4th?
August 3rd and 4th. Mm-hmm. So my guess is we start at sunrise on August 3rd and we finish on
sunrise
on August 4th.
Which is so crazy. Mm-hmm. So what are you most, like, physically not worried about, but it's definitely highlighted?
I think probably the swim. Mostly, I think the swim and the kayak, because the swim is, going out and jogging, carrying a sandbag, biking, that just feels natural. Mm-hmm. Whereas I am a sinker. I am not a floater. I do not float very well. So I'm a little bit worried about that. I definitely have experience in doing a couple triathlons, and I was horrendous on the swim, even training. And I literally on one of the triathlons, the swim is first and I finished last in that, and then tried to, catch up on the run and the bike. Mm-hmm. And so I'm a little bit worried about that, but I'm also knowing, okay, I have 9 months. Mm-hmm. But then the kayak, so, and there's one thing to practicing swimming, but literally we don't live by an ocean. Mm-hmm. Could we go to the ocean? Totally. Am I going to go swim on the Oregon coast? Hell to the no. Okay. That water is dark. Mm-hmm. You can't see anything. Absolutely no thank you. Mm-hmm. And it's so cold. Mm-hmm. So I'm not going to go practice swimming.
Would you prefer
on the Oregon coast?
Would you prefer to see?
Yes, absolutely. You wouldn't?
I don't know.
Oh no, I don't think it matters. Want to be swimming in a dark, I don't want to say that murky ocean.
Don't think it matters, but
I'd much rather see. And the water's warmer.
Yeah,
and you're
very
like,
true.
You get to look down and there's the reef, and in the Oregon, you don't know if you're about to get slammed into the reef. You can't see anything.
That's true.
Yeah, so that for me. And then also practicing the kayak, getting a boat out past waves. I don't know if you've ever tried to do that before, but never. Just trying to do a surfboard is brutal. Mm-hmm. So I'm a little bit worried about that, and the lack of being able to actually do that. Mm-hmm. We're going to Kona to do a race in February, but that's not enough time for me to get some swimming under my belt to feel like I'm going to go out in the ocean and do some practicing of swimming. I'm going to go try not to die in the ocean, maybe. I don't know, just get some exposure therapy to just going out and being in the water. Mm-hmm. I don't know. Learning to turn my head the other way so that I start breathing, looking at the land instead of looking at waves that are coming at my face.
What direction are we going to be swimming around the island? I'm pretty sure we
swim to the left, I think.
And I don't even know what side, which I guess is kind of a benefit.
Right. So that's like wave side.
That's kind of a benefit if I don't know, because then I can learn whatever side.
Yeah. So yes, the run is going to be challenging. The sandbag carry, it's going to be hard. Mm-hmm. But a couple months ago, we did a bunch of work and we carried 60 pounds uphill for 4 miles, for goodness sake. Okay, 11 miles with 40 pounds, that feels way more doable. And then the bike is the bike. My freaking crotch is going to hurt. It's going to be very uncomfortable.
Yeah. Yeah.
A lot of time on a bike seat.
What part mentally do you feel like is the most challenging? Or do you feel like is the most challenging to you?
I think right now for me it is knowing that I need to train, but worrying that I won't be able to stay healthy. I've just had so many issues with my left leg after I hurt my ankle that I just have a lot of knee and hip stuff and Achilles stuff that I wouldn't say that I think about it every day, and I feel like I'm feeling a little bit better. And, we have a sweet myofascial fella who's going to help us out, Dr. Mike, with some just sponsoring us while we're training to kind of just take care of our bodies, which feels really incredible.
Yeah, which is such a blessing.
Yeah, it feels like that will be really helpful. I mean, he's a chiropractor too, but he does a lot of myofascial work. And so that to me, it felt, when he said yes, that helped me feel a little hopeful that I'll be able to stay healthy. But that for me is the most challenging part.
Yeah.
I've also lost probably like 20 pounds over the last like 9 months. So it feels like running feels a lot easier.
Yeah.
Like
I
lot
bet.
easier.
I bet.
It doesn't feel so daunting to go out and go for a jog because I feel so heavy. And just getting used to the bike. And but I really do think being healthy or staying healthy is going to be the most challenging part.
Yeah.
And then just hoping not to get lost.
Yeah. Well, I'll be there to help you with that.
But yes, we have agreed. So in this race, there's different ways that this race can be done. So it can be done individually. And so you and I have kind of decided to do that. But then
there's 2 different teams that you can also do.
Yeah.
You can do one that's a little larger. I think it's, I'm not sure exactly how many.
7.
Is it 7?
Yep. 7, and you can break the race up however you want. So people can share the swim, they can share the bike, they can share the run. The team of 5
one person has to do all the swim, one person has to do all the bike.
Yeah.
One person has to do all, so one person per modality.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So we're hoping to have a couple teams come with us. We definitely have a lot of people that want to come and help in transitions and make sure our bikes are where they need to go. Everybody's like, I'll come and help.
Here's also one of the really cool things is what I love about Sarah and her heart for just community and bringing people together is really like a lot of it's the Oahu Pentathalon, and you can say like, yes, it's a race because you're going from start to finish, but really it's an adventure
and an experience
and an experience. And it is, you are dependent on the people that you bring with you, your crew. So you have a crew that will bring all of your things to all of your checkpoints. And so there's not people there that are a part of the pentathlon that are taking care of all your things. It is your people that you have communicated with. They are bringing your food. They are taking your bike from point A to point B. They're picking you up at the dock and taking you here. And they're making sure that if you need something, if you need something bandaged or, they're taking your shoes and all the things that your sunscreen and your caps and like all the things they're basically your pit crew, which is so cool. I love that part of it because some people will be like, oh my gosh, like, why do you have to organize all the things? It's not about having to do all of the things yourself because Sarah doesn't want to do it. It's not. And if that is the stick up your butt, then this isn't for you.
Yeah.
It is like, where are your people? And this adventure is going to be extremely hard. If you think about like perspective, all right? I did an hour of cardio the other day, different things. And I was like, whoa. I just did 1/24th of what I'm going to be doing. When's the last time you worked out or did something physical constantly for 2 hours, for 3 hours, for 10 hours, for 18 hours? For 20 hours. Never, ever, ever in my life have I ever done that.
Yeah.
Like I'm thinking back and like my red belt test and my black belt test were very long, 5-6 hours. But I also got to sit down for periods of time. And so physically grueling, like those are the only 2 things that I can think of that were, we've done the Mount Ashland hill climb, but come on now, that looks like child's play compared to this.
Absolutely.
And even then that's one of the hardest races in the US. And you and I have done it twice. Yeah. Reluctantly the second time over the first time. And so it is, and we're actually going to be doing that to help us prep for this race, which is very exciting to me because it's something that's very doable, but
yes,
I love the communal part of this, and you know, you having a team to help you, and
so you and I have actually decided to, because we both decided independently that we were going to do this race. I knew when it came out for the third time, Sarah announced it, and I knew, like, in my spirit that I had to do this. I had to do this. And we were in a course with Spencer Nix, BPR out of Austin, Texas. And there was a challenge of completing something, working towards something called a Misogi. And the challenge was that you had to pick something that there was a 50% chance of you failing, and that you would have to become a different person in order to complete this. And I remember saying to you, I'm going to do the pentathlon. And you were like, I'm not swimming with sharks.
Yeah. I was like, forget that. No way.
And then how long would you say until you came back around? And I remember you were like, okay, I think I'm going to do this too.
Yeah. Well, I remember in one of the classes us talking, and our Spencer talking, and he had mentioned something about the Misogi and about picking one, and you had said that this is what you wanted to do, and I was just like, oh, I would never do that because, you know, I don't want to say that I can't swim. I'm not a swimmer.
Yeah.
And but I was just like, I do not see that being possible for me, and because of the swim. And so
because of swimming with sharks. Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
So because of swimming with sharks, or because of plugging your nose and needing to learn to do that?
I think it was both. Actually, I think it was both of those and swimming.
Yeah, just swimming in general.
Swimming in general. Yeah. Like, I would not say that I'm a swimmer. I don't. I love getting in water, and I love being in water. I love jumping off of things. I love that.
I love floating in the waves.
Yeah. Yeah. But I think that, so I didn't see that as something that I could do, that I was capable of doing. Right. And so I was like, good on you. That's great. Like, you do you. Like, if it was even a mile, I would be very intimidated by a mile, but 2.5 miles in the ocean, like, it was like, no, I can't.
Yeah.
It was as if I didn't have legs or something. You know, it felt that obvious to me that I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
I was like, no, I don't have what I need to actually do that.
And then what happened?
Well, so then I considered doing the, I'm going to totally butcher the name. Is it like Kokoro?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. The SEAL training down in San Diego. I thought, ooh, I'll do one of those.
Because we had to choose something that was so hard that there was a 50% chance of failing.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so, but at that time, it was 50% chance of failing, but also I could do potentially everything that they were already asking you to do. I would just have to train for it. Right. Yeah. And so, and even then there would still be a 50% chance of failure. However, I would go into it the same person, like, but just stronger and faster. And, you know, with a better running engine, right? I'd be able to run more. And so because that part, just what you just said, because that part of the Misogi is so important, is that it is a becoming, that you have to become a different person in order to succeed. Yes. And that's basically like what happened for me to realize, like, that actually doesn't qualify. Like the Kokoro, yeah, it's hard. And I'm not saying that I could do it or that it's easy. But what I am saying is it doesn't scare me there was nothing about that where I was like, oh, I'm not capable of doing that. I was like, I'm very capable of doing that. It's just going to be really hard. And then, but with the pentathlon, I thought, I'm not capable of doing this. And so it had something in me absolutely has to change. And that's basically like what Spencer offered us, was the opportunity to commit to something that ultimately would change you. It would change your idea of who you think you are and who you believe yourself to be right now. And so I can't even think of a better Misogi for me.
Yeah.
Like I have no grid for any kind of competitive swimming at all. I have no grid for something that's this long. But with the swim, I'm so grateful that it's the very first thing that we have to do. I'm like very, very, very grateful.
Yeah.
But it is going to change me and my, I'm either going to do it or I'm not.
Yeah. I mean, there really is all there is to it. You're either going to finish in 24 hours or you're not.
Or I'm not. If I finish the swim, I'm going to be more proud of myself when I finish the swim.
Yeah.
I'm going to be more proud of myself than I think I probably have ever been in my life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'll feel bigger than even finishing the race itself.
Most definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I could put my nose down, but I'm like, this is one where I'm going to have to be so present and meet myself where I'm at and allow myself to be afraid, but also, knowing that I don't want to disconnect from my body either. I don't want to disconnect from just so that I can finish it, because it's not about that for me.
Yeah.
I want to be present. I want to be 100%. I want to remember it. I don't want it to become a traumatic experience where I just finish it. You know what I mean? And then I'm like, yay, I finished it, but I'm also
know what happened.
Traumatized. You know?
Well, and I think you and I, after multiple conversations and building smaller little Misogis to build to these big events, or to this big event, is the fact that we are choosing to do this like we're going to stay together as we do the race. So we're going to swim together. We're going to run, kayak, sandbag. There's some girls that actually did it that way. And I was thinking, oh my gosh. I mean, granted, you and I are both going to have different things that are hard for us. We've got different skill sets, different weaknesses, which I think will be really cool, but also really challenging. But I'm most grateful for this because you have such a better sense of direction than I do. And I feel like there's going to be these really amazing moments where one of us wants to quit, and then the other one is going to be like, yeah, no, let's go.
Yeah.
Right. Because that happens so often in our friendship anyways. Is like, even the other day, I said, I'm going to go work out in the garage. And, cause as most of you know, we're roommates, and I said, I'm going to go work out in the garage. She was like, I don't want to do that. And I said, come on, let's go. And she's like, no, I don't want to. And I was like, come on. And then she did. And then at the end, it was this relief of, I'm so glad that I did that. Right. And so I feel like there's going to be the space where you don't want to, or I don't want to, and the other person, hopefully, my hope is that it's not at the same time. Right?
Yes,
and that's, we're going to put a call into the team and be like, hey, Pam, I need a pep talk.
Yep.
I need a pep talk. So that part feels exciting and also challenging, but being able to know. And didn't one of your clients say either you guys are going to be better friends or you're going to like hate each other?
Yeah, she said you guys are going to either bond and be closer than you've ever been, or you are just going to absolutely hate each other at the end of this.
Yeah. And which is interesting because you and I have actually just been training, just our schedules haven't been lining up to train. So we've been doing our own things training for this, so it could be very interesting. I mean, I don't know if it'll be like that forever, and really, I don't even have a training plan. If anybody out there is like, I am an endurance programmer, and I would love to train you guys for this, holler. Because that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Because it's not triathlon. It's not Tough Mudder. It's not a bike race. It's not just a swim. There's these other things at play. And so that's felt a little bit even daunting and almost a little bit paralyzing, where I've had to just start, Lu, just go move. Just go move your body slowly. Because I think for me, the part that's going to be very challenging is, I mean, some of you have seen us in person and some of you haven't, but like Shantell is long and skinny and is built for endurance sports. I mean, skinny. I know you got muscles, but you are very lean. All right.
Okay.
You're very much an ectomorph. Ectomorph? Is the ectomorph the skinnier, longer ones? Endomorph.
I think I'm a mesomorph.
Whatever. I'm not sure.
I'm not sure.
I'm the short, squatty one that's like very explosive and fast. So long, slow endurance things are not really my jam. I feel like this is like right up your alley. Other than the swimming, I'm like, you were made for this.
100%.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I feel like I am my becoming will be a becoming of slow, consistent, steady, slow, consistent, steady, slow, consistent, steady, without creating a lot of anxiety in my body, because I'm just long, slow, endurancing all the time and just dumping cortisol like crazy. But being able to become different in even how I need to function day in and day out, because I can't go really fast for really short periods of time. This is 24 hours.
Yeah.
And that just doesn't feel like a strength of mine. And so I'm actually very excited about that.
Yeah.
Because it feels like something that I've wanted to develop in my character, and not long, slow, endurance-y, but just being able to not come up and then come down and then come up and then come down, but also reestablishing a relationship with intensity. Because I mean, the amount of times that I've been called intense in my life is extremely high, but it also feels very triggering. And so I think reestablishing that relationship and what that looks like. So yeah.
Just practicing being present over long periods of time.
Yeah. It's a long time to be with yourself.
Yeah. It's a long time, and you can't get out of it. I mean, you can, but you'd be quitting. Right. And so it's like, I feel like there's going to be lots of opportunities to see ourselves individually. You know, I was reading some of the things that people who finished the race this last year and the year before, what they had written. And there was this one guy, and I actually think he was one of the ones that finished in a very short period of time. But he also he had a bike that looked like he could pick it up with his pinky. You know, like he was like one of those guys where you're like, you've done things like this before. Like you live in
a really light boat and you know how to paddle. And,
yeah. He looked like he definitely was skilled, but I think he finished in like 16 hours or something.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it was like very fast, the fastest time. And he says, I don't care. He said, I don't care who you are. He's like, if you do this by yourself, he's like, you have a reason you're doing it. And if you don't, you'll find it. And I was like, whoa. I was like, okay.
Yeah. Well, and Sarah has a nonprofit called Point One Vision that just is doing really great. We probably should have done way more research before we started, but Sarah has a nonprofit. She sells sandbags as well, but does a lot of work in Africa and Uganda, and maybe Uganda's in Africa. Oof. Well,
it is.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyways, lots of food, mosquito nets, bringing a lot of the work that she does with breath and movement, which is actually how we met her. We all just run in the same crazy vein, and So she had, she'll go to Africa and teach on the nervous system and breath and
where else did she go just recently? She went to, oh my gosh, it wasn't
she was
Afghanistan.
over in I think maybe it was Afghanistan or Kurdistan or Kazakhstan or something. I mean, she was over in the Middle East.
The things that she had documented when she was over there was just incredible. The things that
really amazing.
The way in which she got in touch with the women that she was able to teach and connect with when she was over there. I was just like, oh my gosh.
Yeah. So she's doing some incredible things. So I know that this is a fundraiser for her nonprofit as well.
Yeah.
And so that's really exciting.
It's very exciting. Yeah. And so, all of the money, right, that is raised, goes to, so there's been obviously lots of donations and things so if you're out there and you're listening to this and you're like, hey, I want to know more about this sounds incredible, and you're really good at making money and you want to give some away, that is a great place to do it. And so she's on social media. I don't know if Point One has its own.
Point One Vision.
Okay, great.
At Point One Vision. Yeah. You can buy sandbags at Exercise Joy. You can learn more teaching things at Full Armor. I don't know how she does all over social media. She probably has a lot of people to do it for.
She does a great job.
You can also follow at Oahu Pentathalon.
Yes. Or even Sarah Mayo.
And Sarah Mayo.
Yeah.
Yep. Sarah with an H.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So I'm really looking forward to the training, honestly. Like I feel I was actually at, and those of you that follow us, but then also subscribe to our newsletter, the DG Weekly, I think it was.
Speaking of that, I need to write mine today.
Yeah, that'd be great. It was a couple weeks ago, that I had written it, and I was at the gym. And I wasn't at our gym. I was at my parents' gym, actually, right down the way. And I was laying on my back and I had my feet on a platform for a leg press. And I just kind of feel like this season is going to be a really hard one, but also a really, really, really good one. And I feel like there's going to be some fortifying that happens inside my person, but also some light bulbs and realize my potential a little bit more. And so as I'm sitting there on my back with my feet on this plate, I hear the break is over. And I was like, what? And I kind of made a joke because I was brought back, when somebody says the break is over, it's what in the restaurant business, a lot of people smoke, which is very unusual, I feel like. I don't know, but I worked in the restaurant business when I was late teens, and almost every single one, the cook and the people that worked in the kitchen, would always, take a smoke break. And I was like, well, I don't smoke, but I want a break too. Can I have a snack break? And so I'd go out and hang with them. And then, somebody would come in and be like, all right, break's over, like they do kind of in the movies. And so I kind of felt that way as I was on this leg press. But I feel like my break from actually training for something and being really diligent, because one, I have to, there's a lot of things that I can just get by because I
This is not one of them.
This is not one of them. I can get by doing, minimal work, so that I can get by. But I'm like, this is not, and I'm not doing that so I win, so that we win, but I really want to do well. And I want to do well in the sense that I want to be kind to my body. And in order to be kind to my body, and even just kind to the amount of stress that training is going to put on my body, I want to recover well. I want to just nourish my body well, eat well, and then just be smart rather than just pushing in all right, I'm running this many miles and I'm doing this and I'm doing that. And I want to make sure that my joints, the longevity of my life, this is not the pinnacle. You know what I mean? This is something that I get to do to not prove anything to anyone, but I get to experience not only, really think about what we're doing. We get to be in tropical paradise through like, I guess we go through some wildlife reserves.
That's where the sandbag carry is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is kind of scary. Also, because I guess there's hogs in there.
I don't know.
Do we need to bring like a knife?
Or some bear spray?
Oh my gosh. Wouldn't that be crazy if like a hog came out and we got to like wrestle it?
No. You could do that.
I would totally do that.
Well, you're also a martial artist.
And I also have this like hunting knife that I've been waiting to use for like my entire life.
You're going to be carrying it like on your leg.
I got it years and years and years ago. And as like a little girl who
Is that the
grew
one
up,
I wore on that date? When
yes, it was.
Oh my gosh, you guys, I went on a date a few years ago and we went out shooting. And so we thought it would be really funny. Shantell,
I was like, wait. I've got something for you.
Yeah. And so she's like, you should definitely like get all decked out in wilderness gear. What would you even call it?
Had like a black and I had a black and red flannel. There were days that
it was gigantic. It was like a dress on me.
Hey, now it wasn't that big.
It was big. It was big. And then I think we put that knife on my leg.
Because it has
my
like a
boyfriend
leg
at the time
strap.
thought it was the greatest thing ever.
I knew it. I was like, he's gonna love
it. I mean, granted, it was hilarious and a really big joke, but he thought it was so amazing. And then I brought I had a compass around my neck, and then I think I had binoculars.
And then I was like, and you should put bright red lipstick on.
Yeah, and then I wore bright red lipstick with my knife strapped around my leg.
Yes.
And yeah, it was so funny.
Every man's
I remember
dream.
that knife.
But what if I brought that?
Yeah.
Man, I mean.
You're going to find some way to bring it. I don't think you could probably put it on the plane. You could put it in your check
Oh,
bag.
that's true.
You could check it.
Yeah. Yeah, put that in the backpack.
I just keep thinking about all the gear that we're going to have to get or buy or...
Which I'm like very excited for. I'm not excited for the amount of money that it'll cost. But,
yeah, so much money.
Well, when you really think about the things that you have to do, I'm like, okay, the bike ride, the first part, okay, not that bad. It's in the middle of the day. You need, you're going to need things obviously in front and behind, but not really things that so that you can see. It's just so that other people can see you. And so, but then at night, you're going for, 70 or 68 miles. That's a long time. And you have to have things that stay charged for that many hours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they're probably going to need to get charged while, look, we're what's the word I'm looking for right now?
Planning.
Yeah, we're planning on what, like, the things are going to need to get charged while we are sandbag carrying.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and all the snacks and all the transitioning.
What you're going to have to eat. What you're going to have to eat even if you don't want to eat, because that's going to be a thing.
Going to be real. Yeah,
and the amount of water.
Yeah, and in the process, not cardioing off muscle. That's going to be really, really, really important.
Yeah.
Yeah, making sure that the muscle stays on the body.
Well, I was reading, I was like looking at swimmers and what they do to keep their body strong, but also mobile. And a lot of it was like very, very basic things, things that as long as, surprisingly, they said that as much as you would think upper body is a thing, it's a lot of lower body because you're constantly in that position where and I was like, oh yeah, your posterior chain is like lit the whole time because you're open. Yeah. And but then I was reading about Michael Phelps. I mean, I go from me and the Oahu Pentathalon to Michael Phelps, but come on now. And I was reading how many calories he eats in like when he's training. So he's in the pool like 6 hours a day. And he eats anywhere from 8,000 to 10,000 calories a day.
Whoa.
I was like, holy cow.
Yeah.
Like 3 really big meals and that many calories, where I was like, okay. And then he's still, look, he was lean and little. Yeah. But just looking at what's going to have to happen in our nutrition, both of us, so that we do. Because we're not little skinny minis. Like we definitely have some muscle structure, but it would be very easy to just, So there's lots of things to consider. I want to do it, but I want to be kind to my body, and I want to do it well. And
absolutely.
Yeah. I want to still have a period.
Yes.
Every
so
month.
important.
And
so important.
Even like what we do here at Drop Gym, I was even down on the chalkboard here in the gym, I had put out the months and that we have until August. And now I'm just like, when the dates came out yesterday, I was like, oh my gosh, we don't have August.
No, we don't have August.
We don't have August.
It just went.
It went bye. Yeah.
We have through July.
Yeah. And
so we literally have 8 months from yesterday.
Yeah. That's it.
We can do it. We got it.
So I thought, okay, we have 8 cycles. Mm-hmm. So I have 8 periods between then and then. Mm-hmm. And I was like, okay. And I was hoping that it would be at the end of August, simply because I'm just like letting you in here, is like, my period usually lands.
I
don't want to be running the pentathlon or being in the water while I'm bleeding. Hello. It's like the number one thing they tell you, like, about sharks, like, just don't be bleeding. Oh yeah, okay.
All right.
I'm like, okay, dear Lord.
And then you're like, okay, how do you do that? How do you do that? Or you just do enough cardio that you lose it for a little bit so you don't have to worry about it.
Oh man.
That's not healthy either.
No, it's not. But just looking at how exciting it is to look at what we do. And in here, and with matching with our cycle, not because we can't train, outside of that, or we can't change the way, we do things for a period of time, but can we train well, prepare our bodies physically, but also consider the fact that we are women, we still have menstrual cycles. And if the menstrual cycle goes away, our bodies are under too much stress. Like they're overly stressed. And so I just can't wait to just try some things and see what happens. And
it's going to be awesome. I am very excited.
Me too.
Yeah. That was a fun podcast.
Yeah. Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, we did obviously mention Sarah and the Oahu Pentathalon and Point One Vision. And so if you want more information, if you're out there and you're like, girls, I am here, you're part of the gym, and you're like, this is the first time I'm hearing of it, and I want to be a part of it in any capacity.
Or I want to do a leg of it. Or,
Or if you are out there and you are an individual and you want to do it, you can reach out to us. You can reach out to Sarah.
Yeah.
And
registration opens March 1st.
Yes.
At 6:05 in the morning when the sun rises. Isn't that fitting?
That's very fitting.
Well, where can people find us?
Yes. So you can find us at Drop Gym. You can find us at dropgym.com on the web. And then you can also find us on Instagram at Drop Gym Effect, and then also Drop Gym Medford. Yes. You can find Lu at
Lu Crenshaw on Instagram.
And you can find me at Shantell.Dayton. We're also on Facebook. We're more on Instagram these days than we are on Facebook. But
and not on Snapchat or TikTok or LinkedIn. I don't know. Who knows what other platforms there are.
Yeah.
We might be more successful if we were, but we're just not.
We're just not. All right. So thanks for joining us.
Yeah. We'll see you next time.
Yes.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.